Namaskar. Welcome to this presentation on Katha Upanishad. This is the first Adhyaya and the first Valli, the first chapter and the first canto of Katha Upanishad. We start with gratitude towards the God by whose grace everything is possible. I also pray to this Guru Shishya Parampara through which this knowledge is transferred for generations. I pray to my teacher, Puja Guruma, with whose blessings I am able to learn and understand the scriptures. And I must tell you that I'm still a learner, I'm a sadhak, but I love to share my understanding with others. And that is the purpose of this presentation. Let us start with a prayer. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, Katha Upanishad is one of the 10 main Upanishad on which Shankaracharya ji has written his Bhashya, his commentary, and it is one of the foremost Upanishad. It is very well known Upanishad. The name Katha comes from Kathak Rishi, who was the seer of this Upanishad, and Katha, the dhatu, it comes from the dhatu because all the words in Sanskrit are derived from their root element or the dhatu, and that means dukkha, sorrows or misery. The purpose of all Upanishads is to give us the divine knowledge, and this knowledge is the only means for our permanent liberation from all our miseries, sorrows, dependence, and this is the attainment of the eternal blissful state, which is called moksha, which is something that we all always yearn for, but probably are not aware. This Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, consists of two chapters, or also called Adhyayas, and each Adhyaya consists of three sections, subsections, or Vallis. They are also called cantos or Vallis. So, Katha Upanishad is essentially a dialogue between Nachiketa, who is a student, a child, and Yamaraja, who is the teacher. The first section generally of Upanishad starts with a small story. It's called Akhyayika, and this essentially gives the tone for the further message that is going to come. Nachiketa's father is doing Vishwajit Yagna, and where everything needs to be given up or donated. Nachiketa is a very keen observer. He's observing what is being done, what is being donated, and then he asks his father, "Whom would you donate to me?" And his father, Vajashravasa, angrily says, "To death." And then Nachiketa meets Yamaraja, and then he asks for three promises, three vardhan, three boons, which is the part of this story. So let us start with a Shanti mantra. Every Upanishad begins with a Shanti mantra of its own. The Shanti mantra of Katha Upanishad is Om Sahana Bhavatu, which is a very common prayer for all of us. Om means the one letter auspicious name of the Supreme Divinity. Sahanau Avatu means the Guru and the Shishya both pray that let us both be protected. Sahanau Bhunaktu, let us both cherish the fruits of this knowledge together. Sahaviryam Karvavahai, let us both make efforts together to acquire this knowledge. Tejasvina vaditamastu, let this knowledge become very steady, steadfast in us so that we can use it in our life and it can become useful to us. Ma vid vishavahai, let us both not have any negative feelings. Dvesh bhav na kare dusre ke liye. So that is and Om Shanti 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 three times means let peace prevail for the three types of miseries or sorrows that we face in our life. One is called Adi Bhautik, the worldly pains because of lots of relationships and our interactions in the world. Second is Adi Daivik, which is the natural disasters, the floods and the famines and the droughts and the volcanoes and all the other disasters. And third is Adi uh, Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, and Adhyatmik. Adhyatmik means our own body, mind, all the obstacles that come in our daily work. So the Katha Upanishad starts with a prayer to the Guru and the student. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrutyave Brahma Vidyacharyaya Nachiketa Secha. So we bow down to the son of sun god Vaivasvatai. He is the Yamaraja, who is the god of death. I bow down to you. And I also, you are the teacher of this Brahma Vidya, the highest divine knowledge, which relieves all of us from the fears, all the fears, including the fear of death, which is the highest fear amongst us. And I also bow to Nachiketa, the ideal student who is instrumental, who is the nimitta for us to get this divine knowledge. So let us start with the first mantra of Katha Upanishad. Om Ushnaha Vai Vajashravasah Sarvavedasam Dadau Tasyaha Nachiketa Nama Putra Asa. So this story begins with this Akhyayika. Om is a auspicious name of the divine. Ushnaha Vai Vajashravasa, with elevating desires. Some desires, Vajashrava was performing a Vishwajit Yagna. Sarva Vedasam Dadau means he was giving up all his possessions, because after such a Vishwajit Yagna, there is a ritual that one has to give up everything. So he is donating everything, and he had a son called Nachiketa. Tamha Kumaram Santam Dakshinasu Niyamanasu Shraddha Vivesha Somanyata. So this shows the plot of the story, what is going to happen, what is happening. Nachiketa is a Kumara Avastha. He is a child. Kumara Avastha is a child of 5 to 15 years of age. Nachiketa at that time was about 7 to 8 years old. And he was observing Dakshinasu, what all Dakshinas or donations were given away. Niyamanasu means according to the rules, regulations of the Yagna, what was happening. Shraddha Vivesha, he comes under an emotion, rage, and Saha Amanyataha. He thinks, he observes, he analyzes. And what does it see? He sees Pitodaka Jagtatruna Dukta Doha Nirindriyaha Anandanamate lokastan sagachati tadadata. He sees and observes what kind of cows, old and debilitated cows, are being given away for donation. Pitodaka, the cows who have already drunk water, they don't have any energy to drink more water. Jagdatruna, the cows who have already eaten the grass and have no more energy to eat any more grass. Dugdha doha, whose all the milk has been milked away. Nirindriyaha, those who do not have any power of their senses to reproduce other calf. Tan sattadadata, one who gives such donations or such debilitated conditioned cows or things which are not useful for the other, those people, ananda namate loka gachati, they don't go to the lokas where there is ananda. So they go to lokas where there is difficulties, and that is what he is thinking. सहोवाच पितरं ततः कस्मै मां दास्यसीति द्वितीयं तृतीयं तं होवाच मृत्यवे त्वा ददामीति. Nachiketa asks a very pertinent question. Out of curiosity, he asks his father, Father, to whom would you give me away to donation? Mam kasmai mam dasyasi. तुम मुझे किसको डोनेट कर दोगे? And father does not listen. And then Dvitiyam, second time he asks, father is not listening. He thinks Nachiketa is just asking out of his childhood curiosity. He does not reply. Trutiyam, he asks third time also. Tamha uvacha, to Nachiketa, his father says, probably the father must have got angry, and he says, Mrutyave tva dadami iti. I will give you, I will donate you to death. Mrutyu, the god of death is Yamaraja. So Guruma tells us that we have to be very careful when we speak. We speak in anger. And here the Nachiketa's maturity is seen in the way he responds to this answer from his father, who has saying something in anger. Nachiketa goes to isolation and does some sort of an introspection, and that is the fifth mantra. Bahuna me mi me prathamo bahuna me mi madhyamaha किस्विद्यग्मस्य कर्तव्यं यन्मयाद्य करिष्यति. He says, in many situations, I have been Prathamaha, means I have been the first, I have been the best in the class. In others, I am Madhyamaha, I am average, but I am still never below average. I am never that kind of a student. Then he says, what is that duty? Kimasya svidya kartavyam. What is that kartavya or duty of Yamaraja that my father wants to materialize by giving me away as a donation to Yamaraja, to the god of death? So Nachiketa concludes that this probably there is no purpose. It does not have any purpose. It just probably has said out of anger. So Nachiketa explains to his father very maturely that spoken words, once you have spoken, I want to go to Yamaraja now, I want to go to the god of death, you have already donated me, I am now his possession, and that's why I want to go. And father must have said, no, no, I have said out of anger, probably, and you don't need to go. But Nachiketa explains to his father in a very, very mature fashion. He says, Anupashya yatha purve pratipashya tatha pare. सस्यमिव मर्त्य पच्यते सस्यमिव जायते पुनः. He says, oh father, see your past, see your ancestors. Anupashya yatha purve, he says. Anupratipashya, also look at the apare. Apare means see what is going to come in the future, your future generations. What are they going to learn? If we don't follow our words that are spoken, then what are the future generations going to follow? And he then gives a clarity, reality of the life. He says, Satsya martya pachyate. Just like a grass grows when there is monsoon or rains, and it comes, and then Sasyam jayate puna, and then it just vanishes or gets destroyed momentarily. Similarly, life also grows, and it's a very temporary, short life, and it comes to an end just like a grass, he says. So one lifetime is very momentary. It shows the reality of the life, what is Nachiketa is telling his father. So there are some lessons that Guruma tells us we need to learn from Nachiketa's character. This child who is 7 or 8 years has exceptional maturity and understanding. He's a very keen observer, what is going around. He analyzes the given situation, does self introspection, doesn't just blurt out whatever he wants to speak. And then he speaks to his father, explains him in a very matured way with clear words and with calmness and humility. He never tells that, Father, what are you doing? Why should you do such cows? Why should you give away such cows? He never speaks like that. He speaks in a very dignified manner. His discipline, he knows his limits, how he has to respectfully talk to his father, and he agrees to disagree to his father in a very, very agreeable manner, in a very nice manner. That is something that we can learn from Nachiketa's character. He is very obedient, he follows his commands, whatever his father has said, I give you away to death. He says, I am going to follow that, irrespective of even if father is refusing. And he's very fearless. There is no fear of going to the god of death. Everybody fears death, but here is a young child who does not fear death. And then in the next few mantras, we will see how he resists all temptations. And this is a sign of great maturity. In the next shloka, Nachiketa now reaches Yamaraja's home, but Yamaraja is gone out for some work, is not there at home, and that's why Nachiketa waits at his home for about 3 days and 3 nights. And when Yamaraja comes back, his family tells Yamaraja, Vaishvanara pravishyatya atithir brahmano guhan तस्यैतां shantim kurvanti hara vaivasvatodakam. He says, O Yama, O son of the sun god, please bring some water. Udakam means pani. Just go get some water. There is a Brahmin guest, Atithi, who has come at your doorstep, and he's like Vishwanara. Vishwanara is like universal fire. He's a very respected person, and he has come home. Please go and welcome your guest. Tasyaitam shantam kurvanti. Noble person will welcome the guest and douse that fire and make the guest happy. In our Indian tradition, guests are considered like God. Atithi Devo Bhava. And that's why any Atithi or any guest who comes to our homes, we have to treat them very well. Now, what happens to people who don't welcome their guests? The next mantra tells us, Asha pratikshe sangatam sunrutam cha ishtapurte putra pashunscha sarvan etad vrungte purushasya yasyansha ashnan vasati brahmano gruhe. So, in whose homes these Brahmins are welcomed without any food or water, all their asha, their unexpected fruits of of karma, pratiksha, whatever we are waiting for, some expected fruits or benefits. Sangatam means whatever we have already achieved. Sunrutam, fruits of nice words. All these, even ishta purte, ishta and purta means ishta are the scriptural karmas, ones which are done as per the Shruti, and Purta karma means the karmas which are done as per the Smruti. Putra Pashunshta Sarvan, all the Putra, sons, daughters, family, descendants, all the Sarvan, all the assets, everything gets destroyed, says, when the guests are not welcome at our home, especially a Brahmin Atithi is not properly welcomed, and that's why we must welcome our guests properly. Yamraja then goes to Nachiketa to welcome him, and with very humbleness, he is the god of death. He is the most powerful person in the heaven, but still is very humble. That is what is seen in the next mantra. Tisro ratriryadavatsi kruhe me anashnan brahmanat atithirna masyaha namaste brahman swasti mestu Tasmat prati trindvuran pruneshwar. He says, Brahman Atithi, O Nachiketa, Brahman guest, I bow down to you. Namaste astu, you are very respected. I bow down to you. Swasti me astu. He says, bless me that I attain the highest fruits, the freedom, moksha. Tisra Ratri, you have waited at my home for 3 nights, anashnan, without eating anything or even drinking water. You have waited. Tasmat Prati. Therefore, he says, Trin Varan Vrunishva. You ask for 3 boons from me. Whatever you want to desire, you can ask from me. I will give you. Nachiketa is ready for asking his 3 boons. He asks them very wisely. One can see what is his understanding when he asks these 3 boons. The next mantra he asks for the first boon. The first boon is for his father. He knows very well that his father is very upset, very angry that he has gone to Yamaraja, and that's why he asked the first boon. Shanta Sankalpa Sumana Yathasya Vitamanyur Gautamo Mabhimrutyo Tvat Prasrushtam Mabhivadet Pratita Etatrayanam Prathamam Varam Rune. He says, my father, who is from the Gautam lineage, becomes Shanta, becomes calm. Sankalpa, he doesn't have any desires, and he becomes peaceful, he says. Vitamanyu, his anger gets dissolved. Oh, Mrutyo, please bless him. He says, whenever you send me back, Tvat Prasrushtam, and whenever he sees me, he is able to accept me, recognize me, and accept him as his son. Etatrayanam prathamam varam brune. This is the first of the 3 boons that you have asked. He says, these are not the 3 boons. This is just the first of the 3 boons. Nachiketa makes it very clear that this is the boon that I am asking for my father. Our first duty is towards our parents, and that's why Nachiketa makes that very clear that he asks for the well-being and and his mind becomes cool and calm for his father. Yamaraja grants this boon to Nachiketa, his first boon in the next mantra. He says, Yatha purastad bhavita pratita audalaki arunir mat prasrushtaha sukham ratri shaita vita manyuhu Tvam dadarshivan mrityu mukhat pramuktam. He says, whenever I'll send you back on your arrival, your father, who is a son of Aruni, Uddalaka, will recognize you and accept you as before. And he'll be able to sleep very peacefully at night, and his anger will also be completely gone. He says he'll be very pleased to see you when you return from the clutches of the death. So Nachiketa, his first boon is granted by Yamaraja. He says your father will become calm, peaceful, his anger will be gone, and he will recognize you, will accept you as your son. Nachiketa now prepares to ask for the second boon. And the second boon he's going to ask is called the Agni Vidya for Swarga Prapti, for heaven. And that's why in the next mantra it describes what is heaven, because the next boon is going to be related to the heaven that he is going to ask. And that's why he says, Swarge loke na bhayam kincha nasti, na tatratvam na jaraya bibheti, ubhetirtva shanaya pipase, shokati go modate swargaloke. He says in heaven there is no bhaya, there is no bhaya, there is no fear at all. Na tatra tvam, you are also not there. There is no fear of death. Na jaraya bibheti, there is no old age, there is no disease. Ubhetirpa ashanaya pipase, there is no stress for hunger or thirst. And where shoka ati go, where all the miseries are relieved completely, sorrows are gone. Modate swargaloke, in heaven people enjoy, they have eternal bliss, they have all joy. That is what is heaven, he says. This is what it describes, because the second boon is related to the attainment of heaven, and thus he clarifies what heaven is talking about. And then Nachiketa in the next mantra, the 13th mantra, asks for the second boon. This is called Agni Vidya, to attain heaven. सत्वम् अग्निं स्वर्गमध्येषि मृत्यो प्रब्रूहि त्वं श्रद्धानाय मह्यम् स्वर्गलोका अमृतत्वं भजन्ते एतद्वितीयेन वृणे वरेण. He says, O God of death, Mrityu, that Agni Vidya, that knowledge of the fire, which you know, Tvam Adhyeshi, which you have already understood, you know it well, which Swargyam Prapti Karavnar, which can help us to attain heaven. Prabruhitvam, you please tell me in details. Shraddha Dhanaya Mahyam, I have full faith, I have come with Shraddha, that in the scriptures, in the Guru, in you, I have full trust. Swargaloka Amrutatvam Bhajanta. I have heard that people in heaven have a very long eternal life relative to earthly planes. Of course, there is not moksha, because when they have finished the karma, they have to come back on the earthly planes also from heaven, or they can attain salvation or enlightenment from the heaven also. Etadvitiyena vrune varena. This is my second boon. Nachiketa clarifies that one more boon is pending. This is not the second and the third boon, but I want this to know this knowledge of the Agni Vidya to attain the heaven. Yamaraja grants him the second boon to Nachiketa, and this second boon is for the social good, for the benefit of the large masses. So the first responsibility is ours to our parents, the second is to the society. That is what Nachiketa is asking, and Yamaraja grants this second boon. Prate bravimi tadume nibodha swargyam agnim nachiketa prajanan अनन्तलोकाप्तिमथो प्रतिष्ठाम् विद्धि त्वमेतं निहितं गुहायाम्. Hey Nachiketa, he says, Te prabravimi, I will tell you all these Agni Vidya in details, that knowledge of the fire which enables one to attain the heaven. I am the knower of this knowledge, and thus I am eligible to tell you, which will means to attain the higher lokas, which is the foundation of the universe. Because Agni is something that is the it is the first thing that comes up, and that's why it is the foundation. Viditvam etam nihitam guha. Know well that this knowledge remains hidden in the guha, this buddhi guha, the brains of the wise people. Then Yamaraja praises Agni Vidya and Nachiketa, who is an ideal student. He says, Lok Adim Agnim. Agni, fire, is something that comes first as the five elements, the Pancha Mahabhuta that comes before the life is created, through which the life is created. And that's why it is called the highest. Agni, in any case, without light you can't see. That's why Agni is first. It's very important that it gives light, it shows the knowledge. And that knowledge, Yamaraja is gave to Nachiketa. Ya Ishtaka Yavatirva means along with all the bricks needed. Ishtaka means the bricks. So essentially, all this is part of the rituals in the yagnas and other, and the processes of the rituals involved. All these Nachiketa is being told by Yamaraja, tells him in details the entire Agni Vidya. Of course, here in Upanishad, it is just one line, and that's the entire Agni Vidya. It's a very, very exhaustive Vidya. And then Nachiketa pra avidata. He speaks back the same Vidya essentially the same way that Yamaraja is described to him, as it was told to Nachiketa by Yamaraja, by listening to which Yamaraja, the god of death, is highly pleased and he is very, very happy. And Yamaraja gives an extra boon to Nachiketa because he's very happy that Nachiketa has already understood and already reproduced back the same Vidya that was told to him. And he says, Tamabravit priyamano mahatma varam tave hadya dadhami bhuyaha taveva namna bhavitayam agnihi srunkam che mamane karupam gruhan. He says, the highly pleased saint Mahatma Yamaraja says, now I will give you one more boon, Nachiketa. Agni Vidya will be known by your name on this earth, he says. And also, he gives another one necklace that he is wearing, which is a very beautiful Aneka Rupam with multiple beautiful Srunkam pearls. He is giving to Nachiketa. And then in the next mantra, this mantra also tells us that just Vidya is not essential or not possible to have unless we have all the other complementary or the Sahayak sadhana, which are also called Sahakari sadhana, karma, bhakti. All these are very important. Unless otherwise Gnan cannot come, because that is how our scriptures describe us: Karma Kand, Upasana Kand, and then there is a Gnan Kand. And Upanishad is a Gnan Kand of the Vedas. The Karma and the Upasana Kand comes in the Karma Kand part of the Vedas, which is also very important. And this shloka tells us about that, those, sadhana or means or that are important. It says, Trinachiketa. Trinachiketa means one who worships Agni in three ways. And these three ways are: one is study, Adhyayan; second is imbibing the knowledge. After Shravana, one has to Manana to do imbibe the knowledge, and this is called Vijnan. And then one has to do Nididhyasana, think about it, have assimilate that knowledge within us and use it in life, which is also called Anusthana. And this Tribhitya Tribhiretya Sandhim means one who has been cultivated by three persons in life. One is the mother, father, and the teacher. So once we are cultivated by all these three, then we become eligible to understand this knowledge. Three karma kruttarati means one who does three types of karma. The three types of karma are yagna karma, which are called ijya, study of the Vedas is called adhyayana, and donations or dana. So these are the three karmas which purify us. And Janma Mrityu, that person then crosses the limits of birth and death. Brahma Jagnyam worships the universal, the cosmic form. Deva Midyam worships the deities who are worthy of worship. And thereby knowing this Agni Vidya, till that person gets enlightenment, reaches the goal, and then he attains Shanti Matyanta Atmeti, attains the eternal bliss. So in the next mantra, the 18th mantra, this shows the fruits of the worship of Agni Vidya, the fire, the knowledge of the fire. It says, knowing Agni Vidya in these three ways, Trinachiketam, that wise man who knows and worships Nachiketa. Nachiketa is the name of this Agni, the fire of knowledge. That man, Mrityu Pashan Purata Pranodya, it man crosses the bondage of death and Shokati Go Modate Swargaloke, is relieved of all the miseries and attains eternal bliss in heaven. O Nachiketa, the Agni Vidya that leads to attainment of the heaven that you ask as a second boon, Etat Agnim Tava Eva, that Agni Vidya I have given you, Pravakshanti Janasaha, that will be known by you in this world. And this now Yamaraja tells Nachiketa that you ask for a third boon, Trutiyam Varam Brunishva. I'm ready to give you the third boon. Nachiketa is ready for his third boon, which he asked in the 20th mantra. Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushye astityeke nayamastiti chaike etadvidhyamanushishthastvayaham varanamesha varastrutiyaha. Nachiketa says, Yeyam prete, after death, manushye vichikitsa, there is doubt in the minds of people whether asti iti eke, whether there is some life which remains after death, whether somebody remains. Yes, is. Na ayam asti iti cha eke. And whether there is no life, whether nothing remains after death of the body. So there is always this doubt in the minds of people. He says, Etad vidyam, that self knowledge, that knowledge after death, what happens? Anushishtatvayaham. I am already become a disciple of yours. I am now eligible. Please give me this knowledge. He says, this is my third boon. Varanam eshavara trutiyaha. We ask for the third boon. Third boon is nothing but the knowledge of the self, Atma Gnan, Atma Vidya, which is a secret knowledge, which is a very, very secret knowledge, Atma Rahasya. That is what Nachiketa asks as the third boon. And then in the next, now 7 or 8 shlokas, the final shlokas of this Adhyaya, Yamraja tests Nachiketa to ascertain whether he is eligible to attain this divine self knowledge. And that is also called Sadhana Sampatta, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, uh, Viveka, Vairagya, Shama Adi Shat Sampatti, and Mumuksha. So, all these that Nachiketa, whether he has that eligibility or not, that Yamaraja is testing. He says, Devairatrapi vichikitsam pura nahi subvigneya bhresha dharmaha anyam varam nachiketo vrunishva mamo parotsirati masrujainam. He says, even earlier, Devas had this kind of a doubt in their mind whether there is life after death or not. And he says, Nahi suvigneyam. This is not that easy to understand, Nachiketa. Anu esha dharmaha. It is very, very subtle. Its nature, this tattva is very subtle for us to understand. And that's why he says, Anyam varam Nachiketa Brunisha. You can ask for another boon, Nachiketa. Ma mo parotsi. Don't pressurize me for this boon. Mam Srujainam, please have mercy, please have, for my sake, let me go. Please let go of this boon. Ask for any other boon that you want. Nachiketa is very steady. He says, for all these reasons, what you're describing, I want to know, I want to understand this self knowledge. He says, Devai atra api vikichikitsam kila. If Devas had the doubt, then it must be a great vidya. It must be some very hidden secret. Tvam cha mrutyu. And it is clear to you, you are the person who knows this. Na sugneya mattha. If you say that it is not easy to understand, then I am really interested to know. Nachiketa is a very different personality. He says, Vakta cha asya twag drak anya na labhya. I cannot find a skilled teacher just like you. Anyone else, na anya. Nobody else can be such a good teacher like you. I've got you, Yamaraja. Na anya vara tulya. Any other boon also cannot come close to this kind of a self knowledge. This is the highest and the most divine knowledge, and that's why I just choose to have this boon as my third boon. Nachiketa does not want to win this golden opportunity, miss this golden opportunity that he has to understand Atma Rahasya. Yamaraja gives many, many temptations to Nachiketa to test him. He says, Shat Ayushaha. You can ask for Putra Pautran, your sons, grandsons having Shat Ayusha, hundreds of years of life. Bahun Pashun Hasti Hiranyam Ashwan. He says you can ask for many, many kinds of animals, cows, elephants, horses, and Hiranya. Plenty of gold you can ask for. Bhume Mahad Atayanam Brunishwa. You can ask for Bhumi, Mahan, large pieces of land, kingdoms, whatever you want. Swayam Chajiva Sharada. Yavat Ichhasi. Whatever you want to live for 100 years, hundreds of years, or whatever, how much long you want to live, Nachiketa, you ask for any other boon, but please don't ask for this Atma Rahasya or self knowledge. Yamaraja continues to tempt Nachiketa with all the possessions. He says, Etat tulyam yadi manya sevaram. You can ask for any other boon that comes close to this boon, whatever is similar to this, whatever you want to ask. Vrunishwa vittam. You can ask for any amount of wealth, vitta. Chira Jivikam, long life. You want to live for hundreds and hundreds of years. Mahabhumau, Nachiketa Twamedhi. You can ask for large kingdom, land, pieces of land. Kamanam Twa Kama Bhajam Karumi. Ask for any pleasures you want, any desires you have. You can enjoy anything, whatever comes to your mind, whatever desires you have, you can ask for it. Nachiketa is very steady, he is steadfast in all the temptations, he remains unattached, he remains unaffazed with all this. So Yamaraja gives some more temptations and allures Nachiketa with the physical or the earthly pleasures on these earthly planes. He says, ye kama durlabha martyaloke. All these objects of desires are very, very rare on this earth. Sarvan kaman chandata prarthaya. So you can ask for any one of them, whatever you desire. Ima Rama, all these damsels with whom you can enjoy. uh, Saratha Saturiya, along with their vehicles, their chariots, and along with their instruments, musical instruments, so that they can dance. Na hirdrasha labhyaniya manushyahi. It is not possible to enjoy such kind of pleasures on earth. Yamaraja tempts Nachiketa. Abhimat pratabihi paricharyasva. You can avail all types of services from these damsels. They can dance, they can do music, they can give you all kinds of pleasures that whatever you want. Nachiketa Maranam Manu Prakshi. Hey Nachiketa, please do not ask this question about death, about life after death. What happens, whether there is life or not after death. Please don't ask this question. Ask for any other boon, he says. Nachiketa's response to all these temptations is very beautiful. The next mantra, he remains completely effaced. He says, Shobhava. Shobhava means Shwaha Abhavava. All these temptations that you are giving me, all these objects of desires are all very, very temporary. He says, they will not be there tomorrow. Shwaha Abhavaha means tomorrow they will be gone. They will not be there. They are all very, very temporary. Yadantakai tat martasya. All these are very impermanent, very transient, very transitory on the earth. Sarvendriyanam jarayanti tejaha. They suck the energy of all our senses, all our five gnanendriyas, all our five karmendriyas. We have 10 senses. All these, their energies will be gone, destroyed by these kind of continuous sense pleasures that we keep enjoying on the earth. Api sarvam jivitam alpameva. Even a long life is too short for such kind of transient pleasures. He says, Tavaiva vahaha tavanrutya gite. Please keep all your, these instruments, vehicles, dances, damsels, all these with you. These are of no use to me. I don't want to enjoy this kind of pleasures. I just want to understand the self knowledge. I want to see that, understand that rahasya, that hidden secret, what happens after life. He says, I don't need these temporary objects. And this shows the very dhrad vairagya, the mature detachment or unattachment of Nachiketa, which generally comes after wisdom, wise discrimination, which is called as viveka. And with this is the true eligibility to understand Atma Gnana, when one sees the impermanence, the futility of the worldly pleasures, the worldly material sense pleasures, and that is the real eligibility to understand Atma Gnana. So Nachiketa keeps describing a very clear worldview and describes in very simple knowledge what he understands about the world. He says, Navittena tarpani yo manushyaha. Human beings can never be satisfied by vitta, by wealth, he says. And that is the reality. Everybody, when the wealthiest people have greed to achieve more and more, more and more, more and more, and humans can never be satisfied with wealth. Lapsyamahe vittamadrakshmachetva. He says, whatever money is necessary for me, that I am surely going to get by your grace. Now I become your disciple, your student. I'm surely going to get that whatever I need for my life. Jivishyamo yavat ichishyasi tvam. And now I'm going to live long enough because I'm in your command. I become a disciple. And that's why you are going to give me a good life. That all this is anyway I'm going to get. So I don't want to desire and waste my boon. It says, Varah tume varaniya sa eva. My choice is very clear. Nachiketa says, I want my third boon remains the same. I want that highest divine knowledge, the Atma Gnana, Brahma Gnana, that knowledge of the, what is the reality of a person, individual, and the reality of the cosmos. Nachiketa is a truly deserving candidate. He is truly eligible for this highest self knowledge. It's because it demonstrates a very mature vairagya, dhrada vairagya, which comes out of viveka. And this is the eligibility for the Atma Gnan. So Nachiketa demonstrates his wise viveka. He also shows the reality again. He tells Ajiryatam Amruta Nam Upetya. To those wise eternal beings Who would be asking for the impermanent objects? He says, Jiri and Martara, because when one sees that there is continuously destruction happening in the universe every moment, he says, Kvadha stha prajanan. On this earth, one who knows this reality, he is the wise person. He says, Abhidhyayan varna rati pramodan. When one sees with a proper analysis, with a proper thought about our experiences, all these objects give only temporary pleasure, he says. Ati dirghe jivite ko ramet. He says, which wise man would desire a life of such temporary worldly pleasures? He says, no wise man would choose something like this over these temporary worldly pleasures. And Guruma tells us to be aware every moment what we choose, how we decide. We must live in the present and use our analysis, our self introspection, our past experiences to think wisely before we slip into any momentary pleasures, or think wisely and decide what is our best option. Coming to the last mantra of these first Valli of the first Adhyaya, Nachiketa concludes, and this shows his rock steady character. He has no desires of worldly pleasures, worldly gains. He just wants to understand Atmagnana. He says, Yasmin idam vichikit santi mrutyo ho yamaraja. For those doubts for which people say there is something or there is not something after death, yat samparay mahati bruhina etat. He says, tell me the definite science of the life after death in relation to the great heaven. Ya Ya ayam varo gudham anupravishtaha. I only want to know that profound boon, that good secret. I want to know, understand that. He says, Tasmat na anyam nachiketa vrunite. Therefore, Nachiketa is not asking for anything else. Yamaraja, please give me that highest self-knowledge, that knowledge of the Brahman, that knowledge of the Atman, that divine knowledge which is the highest and the hidden secret. Yamaraja is utterly pleased with this small child. 7 or 8 year old Yamaraja is pleased with Nachiketa because this child has no greed whatsoever. At a very young age, he has Dhrada Vairagya, Viveka. He wants to know, he's a perfectly eligible child. And Yamaraja is next chapter, the next Valli, Yamaraja is starting to give the Atma Jnana, the Brahma Vidya to Nachiketa to tell him what is this Atma Vidya. So, with this, we come to the end of the first Valli of the first Prathama Adhyaya of Kathopanishada, Iti Kathako Upanishada, Prathama Adhyaya, Prathama Valli Samaptam. Uh, I pray to my Guruji and गुरु ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरुवे नमः. And thank to my team without whom this presentation would not have been possible. Be on a lookout for the next presentation on the second Valli, where Yamaraja is starting to give his Atmajnana, his Brahma Vidya, the highest divine knowledge which the Upanishads are telling us. Thank you very much.